We don't have time to do the doc today either.
No Mussar Fridays. Will we get to Mussar today? Maybe we'll get a little bit Mussar today anyways in the Gemara. Sometimes we get a little present from the Gemara. We have a minion on yet? We don't have a minion on yet. Okay.
We're not saying Kaddish.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true, but
okay.
You say you're waiting for 10 for how many days in a row, and then you now do is it like a nether? You have to wait for 10.
No. No nether. All right, we got 11. Here we go. Okay, that's not what we're waiting for. Don't worry, Rachman. It's just a way of. Anyways, a guy in Monroe has so much kedusha, he counts as 2 at least, maybe 3. Yeah. Anyways, we left over the 2 dots on Tesvav and Aleph. And this is about mazik tashlumin. There we go. Yeah, that's nizik and mazik b'tashlumin. Both the nizik and mazik are involved in the tashlumin. Good? Am I frozen? Oh, good. Yeah. So Itmar, Palgan Nizka. So we know that there's something called Chatzi Nezek. That's what we've been discussing a lot. But just let's chazer just to make sure we remember. Chatzi Nezek meaning is Keren, horn of a shor gore. So you have Chatzi Nezek. If he gore, you have 3 times. You have 3 not opportunities, but you have 3 strikes. It's 3 strikes, and you only pay half Nezek. Right? So is that half Nezek a knas, or is it mammon? Right? Well, and what's a practical nafkamina? Like we said yesterday's daf, if a guy's maida b'knas, he's potter. If it's money, then he's not. See, palganiska half nezek. But Papa Amar Mamayna, Papa says it's considered money. It's a monetary payment. And Ravuna Breder of Yeshua Amar Knasa. Ravuna Breder of Yeshua says it's a knas. But Papa Amar Mamayna, he says it's money. Right? Again, we getting back to that. This whole thing of the shmira of animals is based on the psychology of what's necessary, what's not. So kasavar stam shvarim lav becheskas shimur kamen. Stam shvarim is not in the cheskas of shimur. Meaning you don't. Meaning it's not meant to be watched. It's hard to watch it. And meaning it's hard to watch, and therefore you know that you're supposed to watch it. Right? And because you were supposed to watch it, you really should be paying for the whole thing, because you failed. But Rahmanahu the Chasale and Rahmana the Torah had Rahmanas, Dakati lo yayature, because Lamaisa he didn't do it 4 times. So the Torah had Rahmanas, and therefore he said he can only pay half. But really, it's a financial payment where the Torah knocked off half for you, right? Ravuna Brei Yeshua Amar the opposite, Knasa. So a stam shor becheska shimur kame. A stam shor is a cheska shimur, meaning a shor is a shor. It's a lazy, sits around, doesn't damage. Ubedinhu the loy l'shalom klal. And this one damage that should have been that would be out of your jurisdiction, meaning you didn't have to be so careful with it because most shores don't damage. Rahmanahu the kanse, but the Rahman, so really he should be potter. The Torah made a knas, kihechi the lintere leture, so that people will watch their shor, their oxen, because oxen do sometimes have damage, right? So like two philosophically opposed.
Yeah, but what's the Matthias? Right? So what's the Matthias? Do they gore?
You're asking if they argue in the Matthias. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know. Is this a machlokes in Matthias? Maybe it's a machlokes in Matthias.
Wouldn't it just be frequency? Meaning like it happens, but it's not usual. So Rabbanu Shalom is saying, even if it happens once, it's too many times for you not to pay anything.
Is that how we look at it? Maybe. Like parents tell the kids, you did it once, okay, twice, now you're getting punished. Right? That type of thing. Is that what you're saying? Okay, maybe. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, so we have that machlokes. Yeah. So Tanan Hanizik. So now we're gonna go back and forth with rayas both ways. So Tanan Hanizik b'mazik b'tashuma. Our Mishnah says that there's a nizik and a mazik b'tashuma. So what does that mean? According to the shita that says that when you pay half damages, it's mammon. I know the shaykh nizik b'tashuma. How do you have that a nizik, meaning a guy that got damaged, is part of the payment? That's very simple. If a guy is really supposed to get the whole payment, right? If you go with the opinion that says that nizik hezik is mammon, right? And really the nizik is supposed to get the whole payment. The Torah had rachmanas on the mazik. So now they're having the rachmanas on the mazik, but who's suffering from it? The nizik. The nizik loses out half the money that he deserves. So that would be a way that the nizik is part of the payment. But according to Mandam, it says half nizik is knas, hashda the lavdi de shokil. He's not even getting the money that he's getting. The nizik is not even his. He's not supposed to get it. The only reason why he's getting it is because it's a knas. So b'tashlumin, you say that's called the tashlumin. Right? It's a fairly straightforward thing. If you hold it's mammon and the guy's supposed to get the whole thing, the nizik, and he gives up half, so then he's part of the payment. But if he's not supposed to get it, so then what he got was a bonus. Like nitzrucha ela lepchas nevela. So what we said a few blot ago, it's talking about that the nizik loses out on the pchas nevela, right? As the nevela decays, it becomes worth less and less. So meaning let's say the damage happened on a Sunday and they don't go to the courts till Monday. So by the time the court evaluates how much the carcass is worth, the price went down since Sunday. That gets swallowed by the nizik, excuse me. So when I asked pchas nevela, we already learned it. We learned that the owners, meaning the guys that were damaged, deal with the nevela. So when it says chada b'tam v'chada b'mud, one is done by tam and one is by mood. By tam he has to deal with it, and by mood he has to deal with it. The tzrichon we need both cases. Tam. If you say tam mishum dakati lo yayayit, because it still wasn't a muad. Of a muad aim alay, but if it's a muad, then meaning if it was a tam, so then okay, so it was a mistake. So okay, if mistakes happen, so the nizik has to pay for it. But if a guy's a muad, then why should the nizik have to suffer? It was total irresponsibility on the mazik's part. Maybe by muad, the guy's paying the full price, so let the nizik, take a little hit. Avotam aim aloy, but tam maybe not. So tzricha, that's what you need. So tashema ma bein tam lemud. Another raya. So what's the difference between the tam and the muad? Shatam mishalom chatzi nezek migufa. Tamis pays chatzi nezek from its own guf, meaning that we said if a tam is worth $100 and it gores an animal that's worth $1,000, the tam still only has to pay $50 because it goes with how much of the one that damaged it's worth. Muad mishalom nezek shalom and aliyah. Muad pays nezek shalom from the best. Then Isa listening nami ha. If we say that there's another difference between tam and muad is that tam pays knas, so then why don't we say that too? Ha tam ena mishalom api atzmo, muad mishalom api atzmo. Meaning if it's a knas, then he's not gonna pay if he admits, but a muad he would pay. So Tana V'Shai said, no, you can't ask a kasha that why didn't it listed in the differences between tam and muad, because the Tana did leave over something else. My shayr, the high shayr, right? Every time we say that the Tana left something out, there has to be something else that it left out. So what my shayr, the high shayr chatzi kofer, it left out chatzi kofer, which is an interesting thing. We said that when a shar muad gores somebody, right, and it kills him, so you can't be mechayiv the owner misa because the owner didn't kill him. It was the shar that killed him. But there's something called kofer where he has to pay the worth of the person that was killed, right? But what about if the tam killed somebody? Do we say that he has to pay half kofer or not? So we're saying that he does not have to pay half kofer. So that's another difference between tam and muad. So the Gemara says, "Imishum chatzi kofer lav sheyulu." That's not considered something left over because Hamani Rabbi Yosef Glili. This mission is going according to Rabbi Yosef Glili. Damar tam mishalom chatzi kofer. He's going with the opinion that the tam does pay chatzi kofer. So therefore, that can't be one of the leftovers from the mission. Okay, another raya. Toshima onto my base now. Him is shayri is plaini. A guy admits and he says, "My shar killed somebody." By shayri shaplaini, or it killed somebody else's shar. By raising mishalom yatzmai, then he has to pay. He pays on his own, meaning because he's maida, my love, the tam. Is it not talking about a tam? Right, so you see it's mammon because he's paying, even though he's the one that admitted that his shor did damage. So we say loibim muad. No, it wasn't talking about a tam, it's about a muad. So I'm going to ask about tamai, but then what would be the din by tam? That a tam wouldn't pay on its own. If the sefer says that a case where a guy says my shor killed this guy's eved, ain't mishalom al pi atzmai, and then he doesn't pay. Why do you need to go on to a different case? Right? Why don't you just split it and say, by a tam you don't pay. Meaning the Sefer wants to talk about a case where he doesn't have to pay. Right? So the Sefer goes to a case of killing a slave. Right? Because a slave you have to pay 30 gold coins, and those 30 gold coins is a knas, so he doesn't have to pay. So meaning the Gemara wanted to say a case of non-knas and then a case of knas. But if you hold that chatzi koifer and not chatzi koifer, if you hold that when they call it that tam, when they call chatzi nezek is a knas, then why not just keep it in that case? What do you have to bring in a case of evet? So Gemara says kula b'muad kamayri. We're all talking about muad, yeah. Fine. Tata shema. So the Brisa says anybody that pays more than he damaged, that's not called, he doesn't pay by himself, right? Because that's a knas. My love, that's mashma that if he pays less than what he damaged, then he has to pay. So you see that that's not considered a knas. Otherwise, he wouldn't pay. Again, the Brisa says that the rule is anybody who pays more than what he damaged doesn't pay by himself. Mashma that if he pays less, he does pay by himself, which means it's not a knas, because if it's a knas, then he doesn't pay by himself. So when it says loy, Kamma shehizik mishalim, right? What it means is that he pays if he whatever he damaged, he pays, right? Which is what nezek shalem of a muad. That's what Rashi says. So when it says pachas mai, but what would be then if it's less? Pachanami delay mishalim, he wouldn't pay. This that the Mishnah says this is the rule. It says if somebody pays more than he damages, then he doesn't pay by itself. Because if you're paying more than you damage, so then that means that it's a knas. Listen, why don't you just say not more than you damage? Why don't you say the mashma pachas umashma yoser? It's mashma less and it's mashma more. The Gemara says tiyufta. So therefore, it's tiyufta that on the shita that says Moed B'Knas. Oh, Rabban, you just got on. This is one of these. It's one of these wonderful gemaras that we don't understand, right? The Gemara says tiyufta, right? So we slug up Moed B'Knas. We say that Chatzi Nezek is Knas, and we slugged it up. The Chatzi Nezek is not Knas. Okay, tiyufta. Oh, you. Sounds Levitic back there.
Just wanted to wish me Mazel Tov. It's Kanara, our 53rd anniversary. We went to Muncie for Shabbos, and they made us a surprise party. It's Kanara, 7 families in the house. Believe it or not.
Wow.
We didn't know about it.
Very nice. You should see many more together with a lot of nachas from everybody. Yeah. All right. So anyway, so the Gemara says tiyufta. And it says v'hilchus a palganiska knasa, and the halacha is that palganiska is a knas. So Gemara says tiyufta v'hilchus, you just slugged it up, and now you're saying the halacha is like you slugged it up. Okay, that's for confusion for this week for Klal Yisrael. Continue, yeah, right. So Gemara says in time of my havi tiyufta. Why are you saying it's tiyufta? Mishum de like katani k'moshe hizik, right? Because it didn't say k'moshe hizik. Like psikale, that's not a true thing. Because there is a situation where you don't pay the same amount that you damaged, and it's not a knas. Our good old chatzi nezek troirus. So what's chatzi nezek troirus? That's half damages of pebbles, right? That if the animal's walking and it kicks out a pebble, or a pebble goes out from it, so then it goes and it damages. There's a special din that you pay half damages. It's called because of pebbles. The Ilchus of Gemiri law. Is the Mamainahu that it's considered mammon, mishum hachi like a tummy. So that's certainly a case of mammon. So therefore, That's why I didn't want to say every case that you don't pay the exact amount of damage, right? It says every case that you don't pay the exact amount of damage is a knas. It's saying it's not true. There is a case where there is a chatzi nezek of damages that is certainly not a knas, and that's chatzi nezek tzoros. Fine. So now we get a little bit into chad gadyu for Pesach. Right? V'hashta da'amrit palga niska knas. And now we say chatzi nezek is a knas. Hi kalba da'achel imra. You have a dog that ate a sheep. V'shunra da'achel tarnagoyla. And a cat that ate a chicken. You got to tie this in, Gershon, somehow to the chad gadyu somewhere. I didn't have time to look around. Somebody must discuss it. Right? Mishunahu, that's considered a shinoi. And we don't collect it in Bava because Bavel they didn't have smicha, no knossos in Bava. But that's only if they ate big ones. But to eat a small sheep or a small chicken, that is the derech. But if the person did in Bavel, he went and took his damages, which really he's entitled to. There's just no bezdin to be mechayev him. And if he says, let's set a time that we're going to go up to Eretz Yisrael and we'll try the case there. So Kavinale would convey it to him. If he doesn't go, we put him into Chayrim because we gave him enough time. Right? Here's our Musaf for the day. Right? Benkach, we put him into Chayrim until he removes the damage. The Tani Rav Nassan. How do we know that you can't be magadal a bad dog in your house? And you can't put a bad what do you call it? A ladder that's no good in your house. Do not put blood in your house. Meaning don't put anything, you shouldn't have anything in your house that has potential to damage. Right? So Mamela, that's what you gotta try. That's
interesting that a dog and a ladder are the two examples. I'm saying
it's interesting, right? Because a dog, you could see it doing other damage. A ladder, who asked you to go on my ladder?
Exactly. The ladder is directly, you're responsible for that. The dog is a dog.
Correct. What's coming to that? 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Is only talking about someone else.
What?
Is only talking about another person.
As opposed to what?
Myself.
You think it's all for yourself?
I don't know. Could it be?
Very, very small man.
Is there anything about that says it's not talking about myself?
We're finished now. If anybody wants to log off, but is there any You're right. It's for your own house too.
Yeah. So why? Yeah.
Okay. You want more?